Warner Brothers almost brought in Michael Bay to direct Man of Steel 2, nearly swapping Snyder's brooding vision for explosive Bayhem. Yeah, it got wild. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. At one point, Warner Brothers considered blowing up everything we knew about Man of Steel, literally. While Zack Snyder had shaped the Superman mythos with his gritty style, the studio reportedly flirted with the idea of bringing in none other than Michael Bay for the sequel. It would have been a radical tonal shift, swapping slow-mo brooding for Bayhem. Though it never materialized, the thought alone explains just how unhinged the studio was in its search for a new direction post-Snyder. The cape stayed, but the vision nearly got nuked. Warner Brothers almost swapped Zack Snyder for Michael Bay in Man of Steel 2. Back in 2022, the studio eyed Bay to direct a new Superman film starring Henry Cavill, before James Gunn took the reins for the upcoming reboot launching the DCU on July 11th. This Superman isn't just any flick, it's the litmus test for Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav's ambitious plan to reboot the DC universe after years of inconsistent efforts. With a $225 million budget, the film needs to soar past $700 million worldwide to be a real hit. An insider revealed, if it hits $500 million, it turns a profit, but $700 million is where it truly counts, via the wrap. Cavill's earlier Superman outings, Man of Steel, $670 million, and Batman v Superman, $874 million, set the bar but never launched a lasting universe. Now, David Corenswet steps into the cape, alongside Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane and Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, with a younger cast that's more fresh-faced than A-list draw. The stakes are huge. This film kicks off a 10-year interconnected plan by Gunn and co-CEO Peter Safran, aiming to rival the MCU. But if Superman falters, the whole plan could wobble. DC's cautious, greenlighting only Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow so far, while shelving riskier projects like Sergeant Rock. After the Discovery-Warner Media merger and leadership shakeups, Zaslav has positioned Gunn and Safran as the new DC power duo, reporting directly to him and mirroring Marvel's successful setup. As Zaslav said, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Supergirl are big asset builders for the company worldwide. The failed Man of Steel 2 pitch featured an amazing conflict between Superman and another Justice League member, Green Lantern. Director Christopher McQuarrie teamed up with Henry Cavill to craft a sequel that never happened but promised big drama. Green Lantern was what had come to me. Green Lantern's a tough one. The power is very challenging, and I cracked it and it was fun, and watching learn how to use that power, and giving that power a flaw, so that it was not pure invincibility. That's the thing that made him. Yeah, you have infinite power, but you only have so much battery life and that can run out at inconvenient times. That, for me, solved the whole Green Lantern problem. This flaw added real stakes. No invincible hero here. The conflict worked because Superman and Green Lantern shared amazing similarities, McQuarrie said, which led to an amazing universe-expanding resolution. Costume designs weren't the focus, tension and stakes were. The vision was bold, fresh, and might yet inspire future DC projects. Even though fans were robbed of from the Man of Steel 2, the upcoming movies might just soothe the wound. The existence of Zack Snyder's unfiltered epic vision of Justice League was only made possible due to the fans, and Snyder bows down to them. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. The DC Extended Universe has had its fair share of problems. But the most objectionable of them was Zack Snyder's third film, Justice League, which went through hell and back to reach the audience in its purest, uncensored form. As difficult as it may have been for Snyder and the studio to find common ground, it would not have been possible without the DCU fans. As a tireless campaign spread through social media like a plague, DCU fans hounded Warner Brothers for years before the studio finally conceded to fan demand. The resulting Snyder's Cut with an extended 4-hour-long vision of the director's ambitious story made the fans resent WB even more for rejecting his planned 5-movie arc for Justice League. However, the director knows when not to push his luck in the ever-changing game of Hollywood musical chairs, although Snyder gives credit where it is due. Making a 100-year-old studio bow down to fan demand is not a meager achievement. The collective love for the DC Extended Universe was such that it made the fans absolutely livid to think about missing out on Zack Snyder's raw vision for his movie universe after he left the Justice League production due to a family tragedy. Meanwhile, Warner Brothers quickly arranged for a replacement who oversaw the post-production and editing of the film, although most of it was already done by Snyder before his exit. But Joss Whedon's PG-washed cut of the film was an atrocity that did not deserve a place in the grim dark reality of the DCU, and the studio should have foreseen the drastic difference in Whedon's and Snyder's filmmaking styles. The little details that stood out in the theatrical cut of the film sent a wave of dissent and anger throughout the world as fans took to social media to launch a movement titled #ReleaseTheSnyderCut. The campaign became so powerful over the years that it led to the now infamous WB shakedown in 2021 in a historic win for movie fans. In 2023, Rolling Stones uncovered a Warner Media report that revealed that the online fan campaign was bolstered by fake bot accounts that later turned dangerous, insofar as to send death threats to studio executives if they failed to greenlight the Snyder's cut and restore his film universe. However, in Snyder's eyes, the existence of the bot accounts told a different story altogether. Although not an entirely suitable method of handling rejection, the DCU fans did everything in their power to stand up to studio censorship and the oppression of creativity. The fans and their online social media campaign turned Zack Snyder's Justice League into a reality, and despite not having the final 2 movies of the director's Envision saga, the DCU is a little better for having the director's cut in the bag. However, when it comes to the fan movement that turned toxic in Snyder's favor, the director has little to say, let alone criticize his fans for standing up in his favor and saving his film from studio politics. The truth is, it doesn't matter. The movie got made. If they were smart enough to employ bots in this thing, then they won. That movie has no business existing, and it does. I'm not going to comment on the details of whether they are good or bad, whether they are toxic or bullying. That's in every chat room. It's what comes with the internet. But I do know that the work they did on some level was good. I can say for a fact that they did good. That is undeniable. The overwhelming fan pressure from the campaign and the volatile in-house climate at Warner Brothers was documented in Sean O'Connell's book, Release the Snyder Cut, the crazy true story behind the fight that saved Zack Snyder's Justice League. The fan-led fight is still regarded as one of the biggest movements that has ever swept over social media with the DCU. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Peacemaker Season 2 is right around the corner, being one of the few projects that got carried over from the DCU to the DCU. The first and likely only legacy project from Zack Snyder's iteration of the DC Universe, fans have already begun speculation about how the series could bridge the 2 universes. A theory has risen thanks to the trailer footage that has been released, which shows Peacemaker facing off with what looks like a doppelganger of himself. Fans have speculated that this might actually be the DCU Peacemaker fighting the DCU Peacemaker. Peacemaker Season 2 has revealed that there is likely going to be a second version of the character running around in the story. Fans have speculated that the character might find himself jumping dimensions, or at least visiting pocket dimensions as a part of his story. This could actually lead him to enter the new and improved DCU, or perhaps he exists in the latter already and is going to enter the DCU instead. Exploring the Snyderverse could see the character interacting with different versions of characters from the DCU, at least the ones that are going to carry over into the new universe. This could create a situation where the DCU's Peacemaker is the one who continues as the Peacemaker of the DCU.